Our carrier, the Nimitz, is our surge carrier, and she's in the Red Sea today. And with Nimitz in the Red Sea and destroyers in the Eastern Mediterranean, we're providing that pressure on Assad and the Syrian government to meet their commitments that they say they will come forward in getting rid of chemical weapons. It is that your naval force is out there today being able to apply that pressure, tangible, credible pressure out there and about. But the issue is, and the concern is, we don't have the surge that we usually have. We're kind of using it up on this crisis here. So it's credible threat that matters. Next year, this 14 year, we believe, as the things are showing, assuming we don't have a budget shutdown that would perturbate it worse, we'll have sequestration again. And to us, it's about 14% of the budget will be reduced. Now, sequestration is a reduction in every single account. Every budget account goes down 14%. And then we ask the Congress, and we work with the Congress to rebalance our accounts. You don't want 14% in everything. Some needs 100%, such as our new ballistic missile submarine that's going to replace the one we have today. Hey, that protects the United States. That's strategic nuclear deterrence, and we can't afford that. So I'm concerned about that. We have to keep that one on budget and on time. So that's a big concern. We lost that flexibility I mentioned before in our shipbuilding account that we were able to cover in the fiscal year 13. We don't have that in 14, so we could lose 4 of our 10 ships that we had planned to build. And with that goes that momentum I was talking about, where our shipbuilders are on time, making some money, things are looking good. We will lose that. And so our shipbuilding industry is a concern for fiscal year 14 and beyond due to sequestration. My mandate, as I tell my staff, as we look ahead to this challenge, as we look to what do we need to plan. Number one, we have to bring forward the sea-based strategic deterrent. We have to build the next strategic ballistic submarine. Number two, we have to meet as much presence as possible out there. Being forward is where your Navy is at its best, out and about in the Western Pacific and the Arabian Gulf and those other key and critical parts of the world where you see the little squares. Those are the places that our ships operate in and out of, out and around the world. We need to make sure that our forces are ready. If they're out, they can't be hollow. They have to be manned. They have to be organized. They have to have the right weapons, and they have to be confident that they can use those, because that's how you will judge us, that we can go out and get the nation's bidding done and do it properly. But we'll be smaller, for sure, and I worry about the industrial base. I was talking about the shipbuilding base. You run a company, you know you have to have a predictable strategic plan. You have to have predictable capital, a predictable customer base that you can depend on and have conversations with, and they can tell you where we're going to go. So our nuclear ship industrial base is the most fragile, the one that we have a lot of sole source providers. And it's not the ones that build the nuclear ships. It's the ones that make the valves, that make the little circuit cards that are particular to nuclear systems. It's the ones that make the special steel, the special alloys, and do the special welds on those nuclear propulsion plants. Those are the ones we got to watch. Those are the ones we don't want going under, or we'd have ourselves a real crisis. So you see the scenario out there. That's the challenge. That's the fiscal challenge. We'll be busy with that here as we go into the fall. Let me shift gears for just a minute on the rebalance to the Asia Pacific that you've heard about or probably read about. For me, it's really 4 kind of key things that we're going to do as we rebalance to the Asia Pacific. One, it's about forces. We will be moving some ships out to the Asia Pacific from the continental United States. Singapore has invited us to operate ships out of Singapore, 4 of them. That's a good deal. Japan, we've talked in Japan to put 2 more ships in Japan. And when we have ships out there already operating forward, home stationed out and about, we don't have to rotate them out and back, which wears the ships down, and they're already in place, and they can react to what we need to do out there. So that's a key and critical aspect, forces. We're going to move our most modern forces to the Western Pacific. Our new aircraft, our strike fighter, the Joint Strike Fighter that you hear about that's going to be coming in late this decade, that's going out to the Western Pacific on its first deployment, about 2019. We have a new maritime patrol aircraft. Today we fly a 4 propeller engine airplane called the P-3. We're moving to a P-8 built by Boeing and it's effectively a 737 with a lot of fancy gear on it that finds submarines and can find lots of things out there in the ocean, employ a lot of different weapons, cyber, etc. We're integrating that now. That will deploy to the Western Pacific first. We're taking an unmanned aerial vehicle. It's like a Global Hawk, only it's kind of marinized. It's got systems that can look broadly on the ocean. We call it the Triton, Triton, and it will deploy to the Western Pacific first. So you get my gist. All the new stuff is going out there. Capability-wise, we benchmark to the Western Pacific. What kind of anti-submarine warfare? What kind of anti-ballistic missile? What kind of cyber? What kind of electromagnetic spectrum warfare do we need? And it's benchmarked to the Western Pacific. We're moving our forces toward the West Coast, where the fleet used to be 50-50 balance, the Atlantic and Pacific. By the end of this decade, we'll be 60% West Coast and 40% East Coast. And lastly, it's about intellectual capacity, intellectual capital, focusing on the Western Pacific. It's about doing more exercises, more comprehensive exercises with our allies, Japan, Republic of Korea, Australia. It's about working more with Singapore down in that arena. It's about working more with Malaysia and Indonesia. And it's about working more with China. I spent 2 weeks ago a full week with my counterpart, Admiral Wu Shengli, talking about where we want to go together. What's the art of the possible? Where do we need to get started on this? What kind of exchanges? He came and presented 8 initiatives to do anything from student exchange to medical officer exchange, to have us deploy on their hospital ship and they deploy on our hospital ship. They are joining our big exercise in 2014 out in Hawaii. It's called Rim of the Pacific, RIMPAC. They're going to be a part of that. We invited the Russians, but they said, I can't afford it this year. So Admiral Wu said to me, ask them again. And so I did. So we'll see if they come, and we can do a trilateral. So it's about looking also what kind of protocols should we have in the South China Sea. When 2 ships, professional mariners, pass in the ocean, in the open ocean, remember the open ocean is international, nobody owns that. What should they be saying to each other? Because right now we don't really converse much, and so we don't want miscalculation. So what are the standard greetings? What are the standard professional protocols, if you will, that we'll have there? So there's a number of those. There's bureaucracy in this relationship that we have, and we've agreed, well, we're going to work through that. So he came to see me, like I said, 2 weeks ago. I showed him around. As you know, they have an aircraft carrier, and they have airplanes that land on the aircraft carrier. 5 pilots qualified and 20 in training, and he brought one of the pilots with him, the first one to land. He's a captain in there, which is same as our Navy captain. He also brought the commanding officer of the carrier. He also brought the head captain of the Marine Corps, which is a little interesting because he said, I want to go up to Camp Pendleton, Admiral Wu said. So he brought his Marine up there. Now the guy had a little bit of a gut. So you know what happened, right? He went up there and he saw our Marines. So Admiral Wu looked at this guy and he goes, I think he's too heavy. So we talked about this in Washington, and the Commandant, General Amos, said, Admiral Wu said, I'll leave him with you guys for 6 months. So General Amos said, just give us 3. We'll take care of it. Our asymmetric advantage, and this became very clear 2 weeks ago, Admiral Wu saw it. Our asymmetric advantage is our people. People like these junior ROTC folks who are out there. People like you that have served, and people like your sons and daughters and nephews and nieces who are out there serving. That's our big advantage. And this is the 40th anniversary of the all-volunteer force. And thank goodness we have it, because they're amazing kids out there. I don't know how to send a thank you note to pirates, but what that has got us is combined operations for a common cause with the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians. Yeah, the Iranians. They send a ship all down there in that Gulf of Aden area by the Bab el-Mandeb Straits coming out of the Red Sea. So the biggest change and the best actions that we've done with counter-piracy has been the coordinated operations of nations for a common cause, number 1. And 2, working with industry on what are the ways that commercial ships can preclude pirates taking advantage of them. What can they do to deter them, to dissuade them?
What do you think the future of the Navy 20 to 25 years out will look like?
It'll be cyber. It'll be unmanned. To me, it will be putting together, I think, a Navy of vessels that are better suited to put payloads in. I mean, it's not unlike your computer and applications. We got to get away from having a tower-like Navy with a monitor, you know, a very complicated, integrated, very impressive-looking, you know, ship out there with guns and missile launchers. You say, wow, look at that with this radar, which is very difficult to keep up with the technological changes. So I am starting to, I call it payloads, not platforms. You know, to me, the ship is becoming like a truck. And you bring something in that can plug and play. And I go to industry and I say, I need something that is lethal, fits about like this. It's lasers. We're going to demonstrate the laser a laser gun next summer in the Gulf, in the Arabian Gulf. We've got it installed on, we've installed it on a destroyer and tested it and shot down an unmanned aerial vehicle and blew up a couple of, that's what it looks like right there. So it's got a little bubble there and the thing opens. So we're going to send that out next year, and the idea is it's all about how many kilowatts of energy can you put in that laser, and how much power do you need, and can you regenerate the power? Because if you can, it costs about 85 cents to shoot a laser out there and hold it for about 15 seconds, and that's all it takes to disable an aircraft. 85 cents. It's a lot of bullets. Think about that. The other thing we have is the railgun. You got the backup thing on the railgun there? There we go. So that is what's called a joint high-speed vessel, which is it's a catamaran, right? And it is and on the back you can sort of see the gun there. But this is an electromagnetic, it uses electromagnetic energy to throw a slug of metal. And it throws it at a megajoule, which means it really goes fast. And it has a lot of energy, and when it hits, it has an explosive effect as it releases the energy that is extraordinary, and it can penetrate just about anything. So this, so you don't have explosives, right? You don't have ammunition and all the worry of that. You just have slugs of metal.